Goeiemiddag dames en here. Ons is bijna gereed om te begin. Good afternoon ladies and gentlemen. We are just about to proceed with the ceremony. We request that those guests at the doors please take your seats. If you have friends and family elsewhere in South Africa or anywhere in the world for that matter, they will be able to follow this graduation ceremony via live streaming. The address is www.sun.ac.za/streaming. www.sun, the sun is sun.ac.za/streaming. Ons vra dat u asseblief nie die saal sal verlaat terwyl die plegtigheid nog aan die gang is nie. Dit is 'n baie klein plegtigheid vanaand, so u gaan nie baie lank hoef te sit nie. Please do not switch off your cell phones. We're actually inviting you to participate on social media. You can follow on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at #SUGrad, and on Twitter also at Marties Students with a double S in the middle. Daar word buiten die formele foto's ook informele foto's geneem. U sal die span hier in die omgewing sien. Gaan kyk gerus volgende week op die webblad, daar sal videogrepe wees en ook foto's. En soos hulle in goeie Afrikaans sê, go tag yourself. Ons vra dat u asseblief nie gegeurde water of suikerkoeldrank of kos in die saal sal geniet nie. Unflavored water is, however, acceptable. The floor in this sports center is actually very special, and the food and the drinks unfortunately damaged the floor. Toiletgeriewe is onder die verhoog. Die mans is aan my linkerkant, hier onder by die dubbelhoutdeur in, en dan die dames daar aan die regterkant. We have a qualified nursing sister on duty. If you should need medical assistance during the ceremony, please make use of the service. Ons versoek dat jy as jy na die tyd dalk hier voorkom foto's neem om nie tussen die musiekinstrumente in te beweeg nie asseblief. If you find a cell phone, car keys or any other belongings that are not yours, you are welcome to drop them off in the foyer behind my back. We will try to reunite it with their owners, or if you've lost something, you're welcome to come and ask. Ons verwag nie 'n kragonderbreking vanmiddag nie, maar indien dit sou gebeur, vra ons dat jy asseblief net sal bly sit. Ons het noodkrag en sal oorskakel. So once the generators are running, we will continue with the ceremony and you will not leave without your degrees this afternoon. If there should arise some sort of an emergency that necessitates that we leave the hall, please move to the door closest to you where you are sitting very calmly and gather on the rugby field here on my left-hand side between the center and the Dani Craven Rugby Stadium. We are ready to start. Please rise and remain standing until after the singing of the national anthem.
Ons begin die verrigtinge met die sing van die nasionale lied wat u op die binne-agterblad van die program vind. We will begin the proceedings by singing the national anthem, which you will find on the inside of the back cover of the program. U mag maar die plekke inneem. Dames en here, ons sê graag baie dankie aan Pamela Kierman en die Universiteit Stellenbosch Simfoniese Blaasensemble en die voorsanger Wendy Joy Crowley vir hulle optrede hier vanmiddag. Thank you also to the Stellenbosch University African Music Ensemble, directed by Nkobakazi Minukwana, for entertaining our graduates and guests while waiting for the graduation ceremony to start. They will be leaving us now. Let's give them a round of applause as they leave the hall. Hiermee verklaar ek hierdie kongregasie van die Universiteit Stellenbosch behoorlik geconstitueer. I hereby declare this congregation of the Stellenbosch University duly constituted. Aan die begin van hierdie gradeplegtigheid is ons as akademiese gemeenskap, ouers, gades, familie en vriende diep dankbaar vir die voorreg om vandag hier te kan wees, om saam ons gradiandi se sukses te kan vier. Ek nooi u daarom uit om net so te bly sit terwyl ons vir 'n gewyde oomblik stil word en ons dankbaarheid betuig, elkeen in ons eie ruimte van verskillende sekulêre en godsdienstige lewensbeskouings. At the beginning of this graduation ceremony, we as academic community, parents, spouses, family and friends are deeply grateful for the privilege to be here today to celebrate our graduates' success. To this end, I invite you all to remain seated while we observe a devotional moment, granting each other the space to express our gratitude according to our various secular and religious perspectives. Dankie dames en here. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. So hartlik welkom by hierdie grade en sertifikaatplegtigheid van die Universiteit Stellenbosch. Ons vertrou dat dit vir u 'n besondere geleentheid saam met u geliefdes sal wees. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome you all to this graduation ceremony. I especially would like to extend a very warm welcome to our honorary doctorates that will be honored at this ceremony. Professor Brian O'Connell and Baroness Christine van den Wijngaard. Welcome also to all their family members, friends, colleagues, and former colleagues from the University of the Western Cape that have joined us to celebrate their achievements and contribution to the world we live in. But more about them a little later in the program. We also welcome Colonel Nelson Dlamini, Chief of Staff of the Military Academy at Saldanha. En hartlik welkom ook aan Professor Aslam Fattar, een van die Universiteit Stellenbosch se raadslede wat vanmiddag teenwoordig is. At Stellenbosch University, we believe that multilingualism is an asset. In the spirit of mutual respect for languages and cultures, inclusivity, and a welcoming culture that we are fostering at our institution, I request Dr. Ntozake Tlazula to direct a few words of welcome in isiXhosa.
Kubo bonke abantu abakhoyo namhlanje kulo msitho ngothweso sidanga kaMarch 2018 siyanibulisa. Kwabo baza kuthweswa izidanga namhlanje sithi kubo siyavuyisana nani. Kubazali babo, amaqabane abo, izihlobo zabo nabahlobo babo sithi namkelekile. Ngokunjalo ndifuna ukwamkela Prof Brian O'Connell, Baroness Christine van den Wijngaard, Colonel Nelson Dlamini, no Prof Aslam Fattar. Goes.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tlazula. So what a pleasure it is to preside over this graduation ceremony taking place in our centenary year, which makes it a truly historic occasion. Standing side by side with the town's sturdy old oak trees for the past 100 years, Stellenbosch University has now grown into a world-class university and one of Africa's leading higher education institutions. Met ons eeufees herdenk ons groot prestasies en baanbreker uitvindings die afgelope 100 jaar. Ons gee erkenning aan almal wat die US help vorm het. Maar terselfdertyd het die universiteit sy bydrae tot die ongeregtighede van die verlede erken en hom tot regstelling en ontwikkeling verbind. Against this background of valuable lessons from our complex history, our centenary signifies a new beginning for Stellenbosch University. We strive to be a relevant institution playing a key role in the development of our nation and our continent. Dames en here, ons jongste groep gradiandi hierdie week versinnebeeld juis dit waarvoor hierdie universiteit staan. Inklusiwiteit, uitnemendheid en sosiale impak. By the end of this week's graduation ceremonies and following those of December 2017, we will again have awarded a record number of qualifications for a single academic year, 9,032 qualifications in total, including 1,620 master's degrees and 305 PhDs. These are truly phenomenal numbers, and clearly Stellenbosch University is making an invaluable contribution as a national asset. Ons nuwe gradiandi vanaand kom uit 4 van ons 10 fakulteite, natuurwetenskappe en opvoedkunde, wat hul 100-jarige bestaan saam met die universiteit herdenk, as ook regsgeleerdheid en kruiskunde. First, something about our Faculty of Science. It used to be this big. At least that's the size of the wall cabinet in which our first scientific instruments were stored, and the cabinet can still be seen in the Stellenbosch Museum in town. But today, the faculty has 170 laboratories in 8 academic departments housed in 13 buildings on campus, empowering nearly 900 graduates per year with a globally competitive qualification. Die fakulteit opvoedkunde is ook een van die US se 4 oorspronklike fakulteite, wat vandag trots is om by te dra tot die verbetering van onderwys in die land. 'n Interessante stukkie geskiedenis is dat die rugby-legende Dr. Dani Kruiven eens hoof van die fakulteit se departement sportwetenskap was. En toevallig is die US sy eerste gesamentlike doktorsgraad met KU Leuven van België, wat vandag hier toegeken word, ook in sportwetenskap. Our Faculty of Law arguably has the best address at the university, occupying the beautiful old main building in Reineveld Street, which goes back to the university's prehistory as Victoria College. And lastly, our Faculty of Military Science is the only one of its kind in Africa, providing professional military education for the South African National Defence Force, as per our agreement with the Department of Defence, and this agreement has just been renewed. Dames en here, 'n aansienlike persentasie van ons studente sou glad nie universiteit toe kon gekom het as hulle nie 'n beurs ontvang het nie. En baie van ons studente het bykomende geldelike hulp nodig om hul studies te voltooi. So, although we welcome the recent announcement by the state that fully subsidized free higher education and training for poor and working class South Africans will be phased in, we also know that the need is so great that additional bursary support will still be required. And I therefore want to thank all donors helping us to provide opportunities to the next generation of talented students making an impact globally. We are this week awarding more honorary degrees than usual, a total of 13 spread over 6 graduation ceremonies. We are doing this especially to mark our centenary year. The recipients are all esteemed local and international thought leaders, and I invite you to read more about all of them on the university's website. Ons ere gradiandi vergestalt nie net die kenmerke van die gegradueerde wat ons by ons studente wil inskerp nie, maar ook die eienskappe waarmee ons instelling graag die toekoms wil aanpak, nou dat ons die US se 2de eeu as 'n toonaangewende universiteit betree. Ons gaan nou saam vorentoe. Masiye Pambile, forward together. Thank you. Baie dankie. I'll now confer on the candidates who are presented to me the respective honorary doctorates. After conferment of the degree, every honorary graduate will get the opportunity to respond briefly to the award.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, I have the honor to present to you Brian Percival O'Connell, with the request that you confer on him the degree Doctor of Education, honoris causa. The decision by Council and Senate to award him this degree has been taken on the grounds of the following considerations. Deeply committed to the education in South Africa, Professor Brian O'Connell has proven himself a formidable leader at all levels of the sector, driving the pursuit of even better education for all. Born in District 6, Professor O'Connell's career attests to his widely felt impact on the full spectrum of the South African education. Starting out as a teacher in Ravensmead, he progressed to become the first post-apartheid Superintendent General of the Western Cape Education. In this capacity, his quest for quality South African schooling included efforts to successfully amalgamate the different apartheid education departments and overseeing the Western Cape's implementation of the first post-apartheid white paper on education and training. Dames en here, wat die onderwysfeer betref, was Brian Percival O'Connell eerstens as senior dosent by Universiteit van Wes-Kaapland aangestel. Hierna beweeg hy as rektor van Athlone Onderwys College, gevolg deur direkteurskap van Peninsula Technikon se onderwysfakulteit. Dit het egter nie hier gebly. In 2001 word hy aangestel as rektor van die Universiteit van Wes-Kaap tot sy uittrede in 2014. Onder leiding van professor O'Connell het die IWK 'n leier in Afrika geword. Die instelling word konsekwent as een van die vasteland se 10 beste universiteite beskou, wat die belang onderstreep van sy vasberadenheid om 'n samesmelting met Peninsula Technikon vroeg in die jaar 2000 te voorkom. Ladies and gentlemen, at the turn of the century, grappling with the changed environment of post-apartheid South Africa, a dramatic drop in student numbers has plunged UWC into financial trouble, with looming retrenchments and seemingly insurmountable debt. Believing that the institution was beyond rescue, the new government scheduled UWC to be merged with Peninsula Technikon. It was in this turbulent time that Professor O'Connell persuaded his university community not to resort to violent opposition to the state, and through engagement convinced government of the value of the UWC brand. For its contribution it has made to the freedom struggle. He embarked on a journey of tireless efforts to develop the institution into the eminent place of higher education today. This work has led to international acclaim. In 2013, Her Royal Highness, Princess Astrid of Belgium, presented Professor O'Connell with the title of Commander of the Order of Leopold for not just strengthening ties between UWC and Belgium, but also raising UWC's profile globally. Professor O'Connell's service to society extends even further. Apart from having written extensively on education and the legacy of apartheid, he has served on many boards and committees, including the South African Qualifications Authority. He is a former chair of the National Access Consortium of the Western Cape, recently stepped down as the chair of the Community Chest, which is a United Way international affiliate, and still chairs the Institute for Justice and Reconciliation. Mr. Vice-Chancellor, Stellenbosch University takes great pleasure in honoring Brian Percival O'Connell for his contribution to society. I hereby request that you confer on him the degree Doctor of Education honoris causa for his tireless efforts establishing our neighboring institution, the University of the Western Cape, as one of Africa's best, for his commitment to the full spectrum of education in South Africa, and for his visionary leadership in the sector as a whole, ensuring that education will never again be for the privilege of only a few.
Doctor of Education, Honoris Causa. Congratulations.
Wow. I was told that I was to say a few words. I can't say a few words. Too many words to say. But let me just say that behind every successful man is a strong woman, so they say. I support that. But my strong woman, Judith, my wife, is always next to me, not behind me. I salute my dear wife, who has carried of her family and who gave me the space I needed, even while she worked full-time as a teacher, a high school principal, and now working for the Western Cape government. I salute also my children and my wife's family, our family, wonderful, caring people, always eager to support one another. I wish to thank Stellenbosch University for considering me good enough for my name and that of my beloved alma mater, UWC, being linked to your university through this wonderful award. I shall treasure it always. I must also consider the entire range of students and staffs who worked with me in 8 institutions, but especially UWC, where the slogan is from hope to action through knowledge. This slogan says to the individual, to the institution, and to the world that we must continue to hope, but hope without action is fantasy, pipe dream. With it must come the best knowledge possible in order to succeed. And as Manuel Castaldo said it, if knowledge is the electricity of the new information international economy, then institutions of higher education are the power sources on which a new development process must rely. Do you know what it means to you? You are the powerful sources. You are the ones who must go there, and as we get our difficulty, both difficulty with I'm sorry, I do these things. You are what is regarded as the vanguard, the ones who will save the world. So I say, why are the emphasis on knowledge? One might ask. The answer is simple. Without the best knowledge available and used for good purpose, catastrophic things can and will happen. Here are some examples of the absence of sense-making in South Africa, which has caused and is still causing extreme damage to our future. And again, for you to deal with that. The absence of national unity. We are not a nation. The low levels of education, the HIV debacle, where shame, politics, and culture trumped science. The absence of skepticism, where one is just expected It will be told something and you must not challenge it. And from me now personally, the destruction of strong communities like District 6, where I was born and raised for 25 years, and where not a single person went to bed hungry or without shelter. The sixth one is the belief from 1910 that 10% of the people could hold and excluded 90% in bondage forever. The retaining of the racial labels which divide a struggling nation rather than build it, and the idea that destroying is building. And now a few words to you, especially to the young. I have a proposition that from the perspective of human history, all humans alive today are probably the second most important generation of humans who have ever lived. The second most important generation of humans who have ever lived. Why do I say that? Well, Adam and Eve, we put them aside and we say that's number one. But Per Dahlen spoke of 10 revolutions occurring simultaneously. And that is why we were under such pressure. There are 10 revolutions occurring simultaneously. And since at the time of Adam and Eve, or evolution if you like, Homo sapiens has had a fairly easy ride. So much so that there are more than 7 billion of us on the planet moving to 8 billion faster than we want. There is also a sea of research which declares that we have overshot the boundary of what this earth can give us. We are in desperate trouble and cannot succeed in avoiding conflict over strings of things like migration. Like with water, if we start now, we may just make it bearable. But the paradigm that we are now using cannot help us. It's the beetroot and the HIV playing itself out. It has been argued that this may well be the last generation which can prevent a population crisis of runaway poverty, malnutrition, restricted economic growth, and shortages of primary health care services, family planning services, housing and education worldwide. This generation, you, must bring back the concept of humanity, a concept that speaks of love and care. It must also accept the fact that hope must be followed by action and together used with the best knowledge available, while seeking ever better ones. Every generation has the burden of making sense of their social and natural environments. They must try to understand the past and also to project into the future if they are to survive. This is by the definition of the work of the university. The university stands between the present and the future. Thank you very much.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, I have the honor to present to you Christine van den Wijngaard with the request that you confer on her the degree Doctor of Laws honoris causa. The decision by Council and Senate to award her this degree was taken on the grounds of the following considerations. Belgium-born Baroness Christine van den Wijngaard, a judge of the International Criminal Court, the ICC, is highly esteemed in international academic and judicial circles, having made outstanding contribution to human rights and criminal justice. She also has a long-standing relationship with South Africa and has contributed significantly to Stellenbosch University in particular. This former University of Antwerp professor has numerous academic publications on criminal law and international criminal law with a global audience, and many of these serve as standard references at universities worldwide. In addition, she is revered for her extensive judicial experience, characterized by intellectual rigor and a principled approach to the law. She served as an ad hoc judge in the International Court of Justice, where her dissenting opinion in Democratic Republic of Congo v. Belgium enabled a more progressive understanding of the role of international criminal justice in ending impunity for human rights atrocities. Her subsequent service as a judge in the International Criminal Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia was followed by her election in 2010 as an ICC judge, where she now serves in the Appeals Division. Upon retiring from the ICC this year, she will join the Kosovo Specialist Chambers in The Hague. For her stature as academic and international judge, she received the title of Baroness from the King of Belgium, was elected Vice President of the International Association of Penal Law, among the most prestigious scientific organizations in the criminal justice field, was awarded a gold medal from the Flemish government, as well as the Human Rights League Belgium Prize. Her commitment to justice and human rights is what first brought Baroness van den Wijngaard to South Africa. Since her visit in 1986 as a Human Rights League observer during the anti-apartheid activist Helene Pastoor's treason trial, she has regularly returned to teach and debate developments in international criminal justice. Dames en here, Baroness Christine van den Wijngaard se verbintenis met die Universiteit Stellenbosch kan teruggevoer word tot 1997, toe sy mede-aanbieder was van 'n kursus oor internasionale strafreg in ons fakulteit regsgeleerdheid. Daarna help sy internasionale strafreg as 'n volwaardige nagraadse module by ons universiteit, 'n eerste vir Suid-Afrika. Danksy haar het die fakulteit ook 'n aansienlike versameling kernmateriaal oor die internasionale strafreg vir die regsbiblioteek bekom. Hierdie bydraes, tesame met haar mentorskap, help posisioneer die US as 'n voorkeurbestemming vir gevorderde navorsing oor die internasionale strafreg in Suid-Afrika en op die vasteland. Boonop is die US ereprofessor se jaarlikse seminare by ons instelling van onskatbare waarde vir nagraadse regstudente. Mr. Vice-Chancellor, I hereby request that you confer the degree Doctor of Laws honoris causa on Christine van den Wijngaard for her outstanding contribution to human rights and international criminal justice as a judge in the international tribunals, her academic rigor producing seminal criminal law and international criminal law reference works, and for enriching Stellenbosch University's law offering to students from South Africa and beyond, through her long-standing relationship with our institution as well. Stellenbosch University salutes her.
I hereby confer on you, Christine van den Wijngaard, the degree Doctor of Laws honoris causa.
I am extremely grateful to the University of Stellenbosch for awarding me this wonderful honor today on the day of its 100th anniversary. University of Stellenbosch, one of the best in South Africa, one of the best in Africa, and one of the best in the world. So my sincere congratulations for these great achievements of this great university. I'm of course very honored also by the PhD degree that you are giving me today in recognition of my work, my academic work, my judicial work, in these two fields that have been the center of my activities: human rights and international criminal justice. Human rights being the shield that protects human beings against violations by their states. International criminal justice, which goes for the sword, for the punishment of those who have committed serious infringements of international human rights. Needless to say that human rights is a very important topic in this country, especially in its recent history. Remember, Nelson Mandela in his memoirs writes that for him in Robben Island, human rights were like a shining beacon. They showed him they were the evidence that the law was on his side, not on the side of his captors. And as we all know, history proved him to be right. But it was a long way, and it was reminded that my first contact, my first step into this country was in 1986, which was hard because I was initially a persona non grata. I was coming to be an observer in a political trial, the Helene Pastoor's trial, and it took the help of my fellow academics to persuade the government to give me access, because initially this was plainly refused. So this is a very important achievement in the new South Africa, to see human rights in your constitution, the way in which the Constitutional Court and other courts have applied international human rights. So I think this is a great achievement for which South Africa, its academics, its judges, its people, its students can be congratulated. Let me now turn to the second part of what I consider to be the core of my activity in my professional life over the past 40 years, and that is international criminal justice. This was something that I was dreaming of as a student. When I had your age, back in the 80s, there was no perspective of an international criminal court. There was no idea that we would see it in our lifetime. And then things changed, and all of a sudden, the International Court for the former Yugoslavia was created, and even more surprisingly, I became a judge in that court. Life has its surprises. So now, I'm now a judge at the ICC, the International Criminal Court, which is now celebrating its 20th anniversary. And as we all know, 20 years ago, when the court was created, South Africa was a frontrunner. Nelson Mandela was a staunch supporter of the ICC. Things seem to be changing. There seems to be a change of heart. Of course, international criminal justice is new. Nobody is infallible, not even international criminal judges. It's a work in progress. It's something that has to be learned as we progress. And I can just speak for myself. It has been a wonderful privilege to be able to do that, this very first jurisprudence, filling in the holes that had never been applied in practice. So it was a wonderful experience, but of course it is not easy. International criminal justice is a work in progress. And so I just want to end with something of my own. I'm not speaking on behalf of anyone else. I'm just expressing my own wish that South Africa, who has been a forefront runner of international criminal justice, will keep playing that role inside the International Criminal Court rather than outside the court. Inside the court, it has much more power over international criminal justice, and I would hope, but I'm speaking for myself, that South Africa will fulfill that role. Thank you for your attention.
Ek sal nou aan die kandidaate wat hulle voorgestel word, die onderskeie doktorsgrade verleen. I'll now confer on the candidates who are presenting to me the respective doctoral degrees.
Meneer die Vice-Chancellor, ek versoek u om die graad dokter in die wysbegeerte in die fakulteit Natuurwetenskappe aan die kandidate wat ek aan die voorstel te verleen. Die betrokke promotor sal telkens 'n kort verklaring oor die proefskrif doen. Mr. Vice-Chancellor, I request you to confer on the candidates whom I'll present to you the degree Doctor of Philosophy in the Faculty of Science. The supervisor concerned will give a brief outline of the dissertation. Edward Archer met promotor Professor Gideon Wolfhard.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, the contamination of environmental surface waters is a global concern. Mr. Archer's study used innovative techniques and he added novel aspects to the field of this critically important area. And he monitoring South African surface waters by the use of urban water profiling assess the impact of these pollutants on human health and that of the environment. I request that you confer the degree on Edward Archer.
Beatrix Coetzee, Professor Honorary sal die kort verklaring oor die proefskrif namens die promotor doen.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, in this study, the latest sequencing technologies were employed to produce the first draft genome of pinotage, a cultivar that was crossed here at Stellenbosch University in 1925 by Professor Isaac Perrot. The candidate determined the gene expression profiles of pinotage and compared it to a reference grapevine genome, and additionally compared the profiles of young and old vines. The genetic resources established by the candidate will benefit continued research in this, the only South African wine cultivar. I request you to confer the degree on Beatrix Coetzee.
Claire Lee Davis Reddy with Supervisor Professor Guy Mitchley.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, satellite observations were used by the candidate to examine how climate has influenced vegetation through the seasons over the past 4 decades across sub-Saharan Africa. This allowed her to assess vegetation across the region since the 1980s, and through this identify where models of vegetation response can be improved. The work makes an important contribution to our ability to simulate seasonal patterns and long-term changes in vegetation and ecosystems in Africa. I request you to confer the degree on Claire Davis Reddy.
Alwyn Bernard Dippenaar met promotor Professor Catherine Esterhuizen.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, theoretical and experimental analyses were carried out to establish a methodology for predicting the preferred configurations of new dithiodiazolyl radicals by investigating the role of intermolecular interactions on their magnetic properties. The method was verified by the synthesis and characterization of two new DTDA radicals with properties that agree well with the prediction. I request you to confer the degree on Alwyn Bernard Dippenaar.
Gerrit Goosen met promotor Dr. Bruce Bartlett.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, three-dimensional topological quantum field theories compute invariance of geometric structures, such as knots, surfaces, and three-dimensional spaces. Using a generators and relations approach, this dissertation constructs these invariants by developing further 2 different methods, Kirilov's string nets and Chirov and Vero's state sums. Moreover, the dissertation proves that both methods yield the same results. I request you to confer the degree on Gerrit Goosen.
Hendrikus Wilhelm Groenewald, Dr. Hannes Kriel sal die kort verklaring oor die proefskrif namens die promotor doen.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, in quantum mechanics, Heisenberg's uncertainty principle limits our ability to determine a particle's position and momentum simultaneously. The candidate developed a formalism in which a similar uncertainty relation holds between the particle's spatial coordinates. Quantitative results relating to the thermodynamics of high-density fermionic gases and high-energy scattering processes were obtained in this setting. I request you to confer the degree on Hendrikus Wilhelm Groenewald.
Anton Ruben Hamman met promotor Dr. Margaret Blackie.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, the enzyme GSK3 beta is known to be a potential target for anti-Alzheimer's chemotherapy. 2 series of compounds were designed as inhibitors of GSK3 beta and successfully synthesized. The compounds were sent for testing for activity against this enzyme and showed moderate activity. Time-dependent studies suggest irreversible inhibition is probable. I request you to confer the degree on Anton Ruben Harmon.
Elrika Harmsen Pretorius with Supervisor Professor Bert Klomperman.
Meneer de vice-kanselier, functionele polymerische nanopartikels was voorbereid bij wijze van verspreidingsradicaalpolymerisatie van styreen, vanillinisoanhydriet en diphenylbenzeen. Die partikels met een diameter van 100 tot 1000 nanometer was gebruikt om Janus nanopartikels, doorlaatbare microgrote capsules wat bacteriën omkeerbaar encapsuleer, zowel als functionele partikels voor die onttrekking van biomoleculen te vervaardigen. Ik verzoek u om die graad aan Elrika Harmsen Pretorius te verlenen.
Annette Kargaard with Supervisor Professor Bert Klomperman.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, microRNAs are essential in the regulation of protein expression by cells. From a therapeutic point of view, microRNAs can be manipulated to increase or decrease the expression level of specific proteins in relevant cells. Polymeric delivery systems for microRNA therapeutics were developed for potential application in cardiovascular diseases. I request you to confer the degree on Anna Kargaard.
Boniface Dimitri Christel Kimenikaya with Supervisor Professor Sean Weingart.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, the atomic nucleus is a complex many-body interacting system which exhibits properties of underlying correlations among nucleon states. The clustering model is one of the most reliable models which predict these strong correlated subsystems within nucleons close to the threshold decay of nuclei. The binary cluster model gives us a simple description of this clustering phenomena and describes decay properties of especially separated nuclei in a quite successful manner. This dissertation presents a fresh approach to describe clustering phenomena based on the relativistic, self-consistent microscopic formulation of nuclear clustering in the unexplored super-heavy region of the nuclear chart. I thereby request you to confer the degree on Boniface Dimitri Christel Kimenikaya.
Clover Earth Mabin with Supervisor Dr. Tammy Robinson-Smythe.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, this thesis established the distribution and impacts of the invasive European shore crab in South African waters. It implemented the first management program of a marine alien species in Africa and applied genetic techniques to reconstruct its invasion history in the local context. I request that you confer the degree on Clover Earth Mabin.
Megan Erwet Mitchell with Supervisor Professor Annemart Engelbrecht.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, normal cells such as fibroblasts, macrophages and endothelial cells in the tumor microenvironment have been shown to enhance the metastatic capability of cancer cells. However, the mechanisms underlying these interactions remains to be fully elucidated. This study demonstrated that once activated, cancer-associated fibroblasts significantly enhance chemoresistance as well as the survival and pro-metastatic abilities of breast cancer cells. I request you to confer the degree on Megan Mitchell.
Leandra Moller met promotor Professor Alf Botha.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, Leandra evaluated different soil yeasts for the ability to improve growth of both blue lupin and wheat. She found that Papillotrema laurenti is able to increase germination and growth of both crops, indicating that this yeast can be used as biofertilizer in crop rotation systems involving blue lupin and wheat. I request you to confer the degree on Leandra Moller.
Hardrash Narsingh with Supervisor Professor Bert Klumperman.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, recycling of wastewater towards potable water requires a variety of purification steps. One of these steps is the flocculation of suspended particles. Block copolymers and cellulose-based graft copolymers were synthesized and tested. The graft copolymers were optimized optimized grafting efficiency appeared to outperform the current industrial gold standard as flocculating agent. I request you to confer the degree on Udi Narsingh.
Henry Ann Kabio with Supervisor Professor Klaus Koch.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, Henry Ann Kabio investigated the light-induced molecular switching displayed by platinum and palladium complexes between two geometric forms. The more stable cis form switches to a transform under the influence of intense white light. In the absence of light, the transform returns cleanly to its cis form at room temperature. Such a molecular process is similar to the processes that enable mammalian eyes to see. I request you to confer the degree on Henry Ann Nkabyo.
Dina Ranirina will supervisor Professor Johan de Villiers.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, in our highly computerized world, an important issue is the ability to either denoise or compress a given data set. For example, by means of a well-established wavelet methods in the case of single-valued data. In her thesis, Dina Ranirina develops the mathematical theory of multi-wavelets for the application to multi-valued data, as occurs, for example, in image processing settings with interacting colors. I request you to confer the degree on Dina Ranirina.
Vice-Gideon Roos met promotor Professor Dirk Belstedt.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, potato leaf roll virus is currently the biggest threat to potato production in South Africa. The candidate identified that South Africa possesses unique, possibly more virulent strains of the virus. Detection by ELISA was found to be too insensitive and should be replaced with highly sensitive PCR assays. This study thereby makes an important contribution to food security in this country. I request you to confer the degree on Vice-Gideon Roos.
Martinez Luther Smith. Dr. James Lloyd will do the commendation on behalf of the supervisor.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, there is great demand for new enzymatic biocatalysts with improved capabilities of producing both galacto and fructooligosaccharides. In this study, the construction and screening of numerous metagenomic libraries for prebiotic oligosaccharide and polymer synthesizing enzymes was presented. The isolation, amplification, and in silico analysis of 3 novel genes encoding proteins belonging to the glucosyl hydrolase families was described. I request you to confer the degree on Martinez Smith.
Welmarie van Skalkwyk, weer eens met promotor Professor Bert Klomperman.
Meneer de vice-kanselier, daar is een toenemende behoefte aan hydrogellen voor toepassings in weefselingenieurswezen. Een kenmerk van synthetische hydrogellen is echter dat hulle oor lae mechanische kracht beskik. Hydrogellen is gesynthetiseerd door kort polymerische kettings op polyisocyanide se helische ruggraat te groei. Die hoge moleculaire stijfheid van hierdie polymeren het echter niet tot hydrogellen met betere eigenschappen geleid nie. Ik verzoek u om die graad aan Welmarie van Skalkwyk te verlenen.
Lee Wilkinson will supervisor Professor Anne Louw.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, glucocorticoids are used to treat inflammation
and act via the glucocorticoid receptor or the GR. However, acquired glucocorticoid resistance is of concern. The candidate has identified a novel role for glucocorticoid receptor dimerization in mediating GR turnover, post-translational processing of the receptor, and degradation via the proteasome, thus expanding our understanding of glucocorticoid resistance and opening up the field of conformationally biased ligands. I request you to confer the degree on Lee Wilkinson.
Wasiu Akani Yaya with Supervisor Professor Brandon van der Vegdel.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, proton elastic scattering from unstable nuclei was studied within a relativistic framework. The model provides a consistent description of the cross-section, analyzing power and spin rotation parameter at energies between 200 to 500 MeV and will be of enormous benefit to experiments running at radioactive beam facilities worldwide. I request you to confer the degree on Wasiu Yaya.
Meneer die Vice-Kanselier, ek versoek u om die graad dokter in die wysbegeerte in die fakulteit opvoedkunde aan die kandidate wat ek aan u voorstel te verleen. Die betrokke promotor sal telkens 'n kort verklaring oor die proefskrif doen. Mr. Vice-Chancellor, I request you to confer on the candidates whom I'll present to you the degree Doctor of Philosophy in the Faculty of Education. The supervisor concerned will give a brief outline of the dissertation. Tanya Bernadette Adams, met promotor Professor B.L. Frick.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, Ms. Adams' study focused on how to facilitate transformative learning in addressing the need for leadership capacity building in the South African technical and vocational education and training sector. The original contribution is a transformative professional development framework that demonstrates how a novice facilitator of transformative learning developed an epistemology of practice. I request you to confer the degree on Tanya Bernadette Adams.
Leslie Daniels with Supervisor Dr. C. Robertson.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, the candidate explored the influences of market-directed educational policies on shaping practices at TVET colleges to promote efficiency. He investigated the available conceptual literature and other discourses to demonstrate philosophically and empirically how market-directed educational policies would struggle to simultaneously achieve contrasting efficiency and social justice benefits within the TVET sector. I request you to confer the degree on Leslie Daniels.
Muhammad Yusuf Veldman, with Supervisor Professor C. van der Walt.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, in this study, the L2 motivational self-system was used to investigate language learning motivation of male Saudi students. The study makes a contribution by finding that the system needs considerable expansion because of its limited view that the future self is primary in language learning motivation, ignoring the significance of present selves and others when learning English. I request that you confer the degree on Muhammad Yusuf Veldman.
Karen Joy Koopman, with Supervisor Professor L. Lagrange.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, in this study, Karen Koopman investigates the lived experiences of accounting teachers in selected schools. The study is nuanced in that she uses three different phenomenological approaches, that of Husserl, Heidegger, and Merleau-Ponty. The synthesis of the study emphasizes the importance of legitimating the lived experiences of accounting teachers alongside the curriculum as planned. I request you to confer the degree on Karen Koopman.
Monica Zembere. I will give a brief outline of the dissertation on behalf of the supervisor, Professor Wahid. Mr. Vice-Chancellor, in this dissertation, Monica Zembere reconceptualized the notion of democratic citizenship education of relevance to higher education in Zimbabwe. She recommends a democratic citizenship in becoming that could enable students and teachers to learn to think autonomously, prevent them from making rash judgments, and respect others with whom they co-belong. I request that you confer the degree on Monica Zembere. Mr. Vice-Chancellor, I request you Mr. Vice-Chancellor, I request you to award the degree Doctor of Philosophy Sport Science to Kurt Heinrich Skutter. The supervisor, Professor R.E. Venter, will give a brief outline of the dissertation.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, despite recent and rapid technological advances, there is a lack of studies linking the fields of wearable technology with running performance and injury risk in distance runners. Kurt has shown that high-quality wearable accelerometers attached to the trunk can detect fatigue, energy, and injury-related dynamic instability and dynamic loading in runners. I request you to confer the degree on Kurt Heinrich Schutt.
Meneer die Vice-Kanselier, Ek versoek u om die graad dokter in die regsgeleerdheid aan die kandidaate wat ek in die voorstel te verleen. Die betrokke promotor sal telkens 'n kort verklaring oor die proefskrof doen. Mr. Vice-Chancellor, I request you to confirm the candidates whom I'll present to you the degree Doctor of Laws. The supervisor concerned will give a brief outline of the dissertation. Alison Megan Anthony, with Supervisor Professor Giuquino.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, the candidate shows that the current regulatory approach to government construction contracts inadequately provides for the multifaceted, constitution-based nature of the government procurement process. A relational procurement law based on relational contract theory is proposed as a framework for fairness, equity, transparency, competition, and cost-effectiveness in public construction procurement, as required by the Constitution. I request you to confer the degree on Alison Anthony.
Meneer die Vice-Kanselier, Wenzel Ouke, with Supervisor Professor Richard Stevens.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, private equity is not regulated by statute, unlike other asset classes. The candidate analyzes the regulation of private equity in foreign jurisdictions and concludes that there are significant variations in the regulation of private equity. He recommends that an appropriate balance between over-regulation and under-regulation should be considered by the South African legislature. I request you to confer the degree on Wenzel Ouke.
Alexander Rousseau, met promotor Professor Christoph Garbers.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, the candidate considered how law facilitates the integration of employment and parenting, a burden still disproportionately borne by women in society. The study rather surprisingly found that equality law has been unsuccessful in achieving this goal, and also that South Africa lags far behind other countries in extending specific rights for flexible working arrangements. Based on these fundamental insights, the candidate made important suggestions for legislative reform in South Africa. Mr. Vice-Chancellor, I request you to confer the degree on Alexander Rousseau.
Kingsley Tshukwu Udaye, with Supervisor Professor Kino.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, the study compares the South African and Nigerian bidder remedy systems and assessed their effectiveness in enforcing public procurement regulation in both jurisdictions. In analyzing the administrative, judicial, and other forms of remedies for public procurement within these systems, the study presents suggestions for improving their effectiveness and formulates blueprints for generally designing bidder remedies systems in procurement. I request you to confer the degree on Kingsley Udaye.
Meneer die Vice-Kanselier, ons collega Albertus Bernardus Wessels, met promotor Professor Max Loubser.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, the candidate found that compensation for crime victims in South African law, mainly the law of delict, is unsatisfactory. He concludes that a statutory compensation fund for crime victims, as exists in other jurisdictions, is appropriate for South Africa, and makes recommendations on interaction between claims against the proposed fund and existing remedies. I request you to confer the degree on Bernard Wessels.
Ik zal nou die kandidaten wat mij voorgesteld worden, die onderscheiden vragen, diplomas en certificaten verlenen, al na confer on the candidates who are presented to me the respective degrees, diplomas, and certificates.
Meneer die Vice-Chancellor, ek versoek u om die volgende grade in die fakulteit Natuurwetenskappe te verleen. Mr. Vice-Chancellor, I request you to confer the following degrees in the Faculty of Science. Die graad baccalaureus in die Natuurwetenskappe, the degree Bachelor of Science. Ibrahim Ali. Gwendoline Arendse. Divon Basson. Olof Charles Wesselberg. Anwin Bekes. Claude Jacobus Botha. Chelsea Shirley Butler. Marcus Stefan Karstens. Nokutula Chauki. Sarah Louise Clark. Aubrey Dirk Conradi. Anneke Cooper. Willem Hendrik Kraus, sy ma Dr. Malan sal die band omhang. Adele Amy Angelique Darius. Jethro Emmett Davids. Sarah Davids. Tara de Jong. Jessica Amy de Stadler. Duan Henry de Villiers. Oratili Dibitsu. Elzaan Vroneman. Casey Ashley Gabriel. Thurifa Gafildin. Shani Gold. Chuma Gola. Catherine Lee Griesel. Simon Groenewald. Willem Jacobus Groenewald. Riyad Hansen. Jonathan Robert Yenes. Sean Erich Stewart Housen. Jason Hutton. Lisa Astrid Jansen. Hilbury Amber Jonas. Brigitta Blumie Kipke. Mbali Kanya. Nadia Kritzinger. Mogobi Veli Letwaba. Megan Lowe. Nadia Luki. Itumeleng Tony Maki. Fiona Joy MacDonald. Levon Marie. Melissa Lauren Marks. Chandray Machlala. Lenique Caitlin McCallum. Mangalisu Sipesishle Mdakani. Mtobisi Nelson Tetwa. Mutali Doris Mukwebu. Leandrey Mulder. Samiksha Mangru. Rees Murray. Thania Naker. Jamie Nodia. Dimpo Ndlala. Ndla. Craig Amos October. Yumna Parker. Carl Henry Rabi. Shanae Alice Ross. Chegufatsu Denayo Silabalo. Keegan John Smith. Dylan Solms. Raya Savriva. Marcel Steenkamp. Amy Deborah Steinobel. Reine Stumges. Lisa Marie Swart. Tariq Faisal Tayop. Richard William Thomas. Paul Jonathan Tritter. Mkhwetwa Banse Tipa. Kari Britt Turner. Timo Elliot Turnley. Stephanie Lee Upstel. Laura Melanie van Beelen. Elke van der Walt. Johanna Cornelia van der Westhuizen. François Paul van Heerden. Michelle Patricia van Wyk. Andrea Visagi. Kaylin Jasmine Weppelman. Arina Wessels. Stefan Dudley Wildskut. Vaughan Wilkinson. Chelsea Danielle Williams. Fern Jenna Wolf. Nathan John Wallow. Malibongwe Lugani Tulu. Tapiwa Zava Zava. Sipivu Zidubule. Ilse-Lee Swartz. The degree Bachelor of Science, cum laude. Jenna Faye Annandale. Cheyenne Westhuizen.
Die graad Honeurs Baccalaureus in die Natuurwetenskappe, the degree Bachelor of Science Honours. Yaha Nantakai Agiara Domo. Bongumusa Chebolinkosi Chongo. Randy Duane Cunningham. Nicole Joy Green. Zakina Hussein. Christine Marie Monteverdi. Gustav Rezelman. Graham Brian Struble. Die graad Magister in die Natuurwetenskappe, the degree Master of Science. Carmelita Bianca Abrams. James Mba Azam. Johannes Ludovicus Barnard. Jean-André Breitenbach. Rudolf Petrus Gerhardus Dreyer. Nelissa Assistance Jaiya. Amy Edwards. Marvin Heinrich Esterhuizen. Frida Geldenhuis. Bafana Weber. Nelmarie Harmsen. Shelley Hout. Ben Hendrik Krieger. Leighton Jody Lombard. Ingoliso Magona. Tobeka Rita Mshlongwe. Umbali Petunia Mtetwa. Zinkili Emily Ntomboti. Derki Koenraad Meiberg. Sulandi Reuter. Regina Roda. Dumisani Knowledge Shabangu. Marika Smith. Jani van Gent. Michelle Teresa Williams. Die graad magister in die natuurwetenskappe cum laude, degree Master of Science cum laude. Innocente Muraha Amima. Amber Claire Bennett. Simon Berger. Emily Bekes. Oops. Emile, sorry. Elzaan Boysen. Kasparis Johannes Brink. Angelique Aida Cabral. Herzel Klaassen. Jonneke Dreyer. Leonie Dreyer. Anneke Erasmus. Rachel Gent. Ratsi Manderesi Holenira Dina Miora. Inge Donay Johannes. Philip McLean. Margareta Magdalena Miller. Tracy Ollewagen. Tertius Alwyn Ras. Jean Benuli Ravalo Manana. Kirsten Scott. Melissa Stein. Andre Strauss. Christian Swanepoel. Nicolaas Hendrik Weideman. Petronella Magdalena Wessels. Stian Wieman.
Meneer die Vice-Kanselier, ek versoek u om die volgende grade en sertifikate in die fakulteit opvoedkunde te verleen. Mr. Vice-Chancellor, I request you to confer the following degrees and certificates in the Faculty of Education. Die graad baccalaureus in die opvoedkunde algemene onderwys, the degree Bachelor of Education, General Education. Manisha Shamlin Lint. Tamsin Verda Low. Mabuti Bululani Ngumani. Craig Peterson. Andrea Steenkamp. Die nagraadse onderwyssertifikaat, the postgraduate certificate in education. Shante Chelsea Barry. Emily Jacobs. Nicole Lafleur. . Jamie Lee Lisa Mansfield. Nicolaas Cornelius Vermeulen. Die graad Honneurs Baccalaureus in die opvoedkunde, the degree Bachelor of Education Honours. Marincia Botha. Rebecca Ann Gillian Bradshaw Bubb. Diane Neil Buys. Zita Judith Davids. Maria Elizabeth Els. Calvin Jean Fortuin. Lenske Gous. Nosifiwe January. Sivuyele Owen Kutsu. Jonah Pohamba Shiwomwenyo Mushalenga. Lizette Reuters. Annemarie Sampson. Charles Raymond Wiggle. Die graad Honneurs Baccalaureus in die opvoedkunde, the degree in die opvoedkunde en opvoedkundige ondersteuning, the degree Bachelor of Education Honours in Educational Support. Catherine Ann Nell. Mtsetseleli Mkuboka. Die graad Magister in die Wysbegeerte, the degree Master of Philosophy. Hilton John Abrams. Katharina Elizabeth Creer. Mpo Ellen Rakoma. Die graad Magister in die Natuurwetenskappe en Sportwetenskap, the degree Master of Science in Sport Science. Cindy Grobler. Dmitry Kovac. Janine Watson. Die graad Magister in die Natuurwetenskappe in Sportwetenskap cum laude. The degree Master of Science in Sport Science cum laude. Anthony Barry Donald Clark. Richard Pierre Legrange. Heinrich François Pinchek. The degree Master of Education in Educational Psychology. Fazila Osman. The degree Master of Education in Educational Psychology cum laude. Gertruida Grobler. Debbie Kempthorne. The degree Master of Education. Jennifer Claudine Iso. Megan Foster. Sylvia Hatutali. Die graad Magister in die opvoedkunde cum laude. The degree Master of Education cum laude. Maria de Man. Timba Nkulisi Magaba. Benita van Sail.
Meneer die Vice-Chancellor, ek versoek hier om die volgende diploma en grade in die fakulteit regsgeleerdheid te verleen. Mr. Vice-Chancellor, I request you to confer the following diploma and degrees in the Faculty of Law. Nagraadse diploma in belastingreg, postgraduate diploma in tax law, Stanley Chamberlain. Melissa van Huisteen. Selman Petrus van Huisteen. Die graad baccalaureus in die regsgeleerdheid, the degree Bachelor of Laws, Bronwyn Alexandria Bagley. Carissa Baden. Noel Basson. Sef Botes. Elinette Brooks. Natalie Collier. Talia Cullinan. Lisa Marie Dobel. Hanru Du Plessis. Kayla Michelle Dupree. Shawnee Fourie. Shawnee. Natalie Franz. James Jonathan Gallo. Avuyile Onwabile Kasela. Emma Maria Grobbelaar. Kathleen Henning. Kinsani Glungwane. James Dean Jennings. Annemieke Keizer. Christy Lynn Kerr. Louise King. Sydney Ray Kokot. Daleen Kotse. Jana Kotse. Charlene Kreuzer. Jessie Kriel. Jacques Lee Dwayne Lowe. Alexandra Louise Myberg. Masibeke Nkosini Ziga Nkrobe. Liesel Olivier. Marijke Sonet Piper. Max Andreas Reino. Nikkei Rousseau. Jan Abraham Roux. Lorraine Elizabeth Roux. Dean Dominique Settler. Sisipo Apollo Solilo. Willem Hendrik Hermanus Steyn. Jonathan Anthony Thompson. Tian van der Vyver. Mignon van der Westhuizen. Lance Wayne van Roy. Ik denk is 'n voormalige matrikulant van die jaar, meneer die fisiekanselier. Chanel van Tonder. Ruby Jane van Sail. Mohammed Shad Ismail Wais. Colston Lionel Wiete. Deirdre Louise Venter. Milan Vermeulen. Leandri Janice Versaghi. Marshall Adrey Danzel Versaghi. Evangelia Vodes. Michelle Noreen Zondag. Meneer die fisiekanselier, die graad baccalaureus in die rechtsgeleerdheid cum laude, the degree Bachelors of Laws cum laude, Charles K. Levon Schoen. Georgia Eleanor Speechley. Christine Strauss. Summer Katerina Shaw van Hart. Die graad magister in die rechtsgeleerdheid, the degree Master of Laws. Courtney Chamberlain. Kirsten Dalzell. Matthew David de Roos. Jana de Waal. Lesedi Chapang Roof Dinkake. Jean-Pierre Duplessis. Gert Jacobus Cagiano. Kundai Shingarai Gavarish. Nico George Hudson. Ignacia Ntokozo Tamari Makomba. Mweti Elias Marai. Nicolas Mathieu. Itumeleng Murane. Cherizan Fayan Petersen. Ons collega Monja Postumus Meyers. Tibogo Mokgadi Rakate. Kirsty Christine Samuels. Petrus Ndangi Shupala. Tanaka Primrose Tachivei. Cleo Lucretia van Rooyen. Bianca Wallendorf. Courtney Wingfield. Mr. Vice-Chancellor, the degree Master of Laws cum laude. Catherine Hofmeyer de Villiers. Danel Jansen van Rensburg. Carl Terry Lamb. Liam Nicholas Moses.
Mr. Vice-Chancellor, I request you to confer the following degrees in the Faculty of Military Science. The degree Bachelor of Military Science. Darren Louis Banner. Johannes Hendrik Gnade. Violet Mamuluku Homo. Agnes Keseng Hozo. Ignatius Nhlahla Mahlalela. Happiness Makananise. Peter Andres Rousseau Malan. Wenzile Charity Konza. Makawelo Ana Nzalong. Pasega Benjamin Tembo. The degree Bachelor of Military Science Honours. Desiree Elizabeth Fauché. Nkosana Abednego Chabalala. The degree Bachelor of Military Science Honours Cum Laude. Philip Harvey Strauss.
Meneer die Vice-Chancellor, ek versoek u om ook aan die graad- en diploma-kandidate, wie se name aan u voorgelê is, maar wat nie hier teenwoordig is nie, die onderskeie grade en diplomas in hulle afwesigheid te verleen. Mr. Vice-Chancellor, I request you to confer the degrees and diplomas on those candidates whose names have been presented to you but who could not attend in their absence.
Ek verleen die onderskeie grade, diplomas en sertifikate aan die kandidate in hulle afwesigheid. I confer the respective degrees, diplomas and certificates on the candidates in their absence. Ladies and gentlemen, now that we have awarded all the qualifications, that's a round of applause. I wish to congratulate our two new honorary graduates, Dr. Brian O'Connell and Dr. Christine van den Wijngaard, on behalf of the university with the honor that was bestowed on you. We have heard of your achievements and significant contributions, and it is indeed a privilege to honor you in this way in our centenary year. You both represent the graduate attributes that we would like our students to acquire, and you are role models to us all. Aan almal wat vandag 'n kwalifikasie verwerf het, hartlik geluk. Ons hoop en vertrou dat die kwalifikasie selfs na verdere studie sal lei, na 'n suksesvolle en vervullende loopbaan of die verryking van 'n bestaande loopbaan. Bly asseblief in verbinding met julle alma mater. Die Universiteit Stellenbosch sal nou vir altyd julle akademiese tuiste bly, selfs al verlaat julle dalk nou die campus. I also wish to congratulate parents, spouses, family and friends with the achievements of your graduate. The journey to this milestone probably went hand in hand with sacrifice, but we trust that this achievement here today made it all worthwhile. Graduates, to express your gratitude for the support that was granted over many years, let's give your family and friends a resounding round of applause. Before I conclude, I want to invite all graduates, except for those who graduated in the Faculty of Law, to celebrate with the Alumni Relations team and the fellow graduates with a glass of bubbly, or juice if you've preferred, in the tent behind the Kutsenberg Center. You've sat for an awfully long time. You really deserve this. But do not be concerned, ladies and gentlemen. We have not placed the Faculty of Law under prohibition. All the law graduates, parents and guests are requested to meet faculty staff on the Eerste River side of this center. From there, Professor Nicholas Smit will lead the procession back to the Ou Hoofgebou, your academic home and iconic SU building. Arrangements have been made for you to return your hired academic attire there, and I also have it on good authority that there will be some refreshments waiting for you there. So ons het nou die einde van die verrigtinge bereik en ek verklaar hierdie kongregasie van die Universiteit Stellenbosch as beëindig. Ek versoek u om op te staan en te bly staan totdat die akademiese prosesie die saal verlaat het. We have now come to the end of the proceedings, and I declare this meeting of the congregation of the Stellenbosch University closed. Please rise and remain standing while the academic procession leaves the hall.